one of my favourite baits during the spring and summer time for fishing for carp. It's a high protein bait that carp absolutely love. Look at that straight away. As soon as I drop back in, you can see how deadly it is. Little mini meat masterclass. So the bait we're using today is meat. One of my favourite baits for carp during the spring going into summertime. It's a high protein bait that carp absolutely love, just because they've just come out of winter and they want to put on loads of weight and get themselves nice and strong for the summer months ahead. And we're going to be doing a mini masterclass today on how I go about using them baits. We've come to the Oaks Lakes at Sessay. We're on Sycamore Lake. It's predominantly known for its short and edge fishing with meat and catching massive weights. So with no further ado, let's get some fishing done. So there you go. We've just started the session and we're straight into our first fish. Didn't take long and it comes straight into the peg. Feels like a nice carp, this one. I think in this lake they are of a similar stamp with an odd better one, but they're like peas in a pod, a lot of them. So there's our first fish of the session. A lovely fish. I'll just show you him quick before we go back in. The little one. Beautiful fish to start the session. I think that's the general size of them in this lake, between 2 and 6 pound, but there's a lot of them. Now, what I've done for this session today is, as I said to you, it's a venue that's known for predominantly fishing short and in the edge, but I've started short a little bit further out than where the actual people who normally fish these lakes do. My thinking around this is, just because it's obviously the start of the session, I feel like I could probably nick a few fish quick in a bit deeper water, just on that silt. I think them carp love hanging about round that silt, and that's where I've started today's session. Now obviously I've just caught a fish then, and if I go in again and catch another one, keep going, keep catching them. But if it comes to a point where I start missing bites and I'm foul looking them and stuff like that, then I can come back to a short kit where they do normally catch the fish on this venue. But just to start this session off, I've started it a little bit further out. It sounds a bit stupid, but I'm only fishing it a top kit and one, but that is quite far out from this venue. And I've also started with a pot on as well, just to start the session. Now, obviously, you need to try and work that out on the day. Throwing could be better, which normally it is, because they love carp, love noise. When there's lots of carp in a venue, they just home in on the noise. But again, I just felt like, because I'm starting the session, I feel like if I just kinder a bit of meat in, gives me a good chance of nicking a couple early. I'm just tapping like 5 or 6 pieces of meat in and lowering my rigging. Well, missed a bite then. Up bait's come off. So instantly there was one in my peg then, as soon as I fed my bait. So that's telling me that maybe I do need to take the pot off and start chucking a bit of meat in, just to be quicker and more efficient with it. But I don't want to do that too quickly yet. Just keep doing what we're doing and see how it goes on. You don't want to change it too quick, because it might not be right. You maybe just need to, you could start chucking meat on this longer line that I'm fishing here and that not be right. It's just a day where you need to come straight back, really short in front of you. What happens when you're fishing really short and in front of you as well is less fish come into your peg and they're easier to catch. Maybe on this line where I'm fishing, there's too many fish coming in your peg that are more confident a bit further out into the lake. But we've just caught one straight away, so which is a good start. Obviously we missed a bite, but we'll keep going at this now and see what happens. There you go, there's another one straight away. It's absolutely fantastic. Now obviously when you hook one, I've kindled a bit in, I've hooked one, guide it out your peg, just chuck 5 or 6 pieces of meat on your, right on your marker on your spot. You're just priming that up again, ready for when you go back in. Look at him, the lovely fish. This is a bit bigger, this one. I'm fishing yellow slick in a short kit. I think that's perfect for these type of venues where you're catching a lot of fish. It's not proper summertime yet. They've only just started waking up, just coming out the spring. We're in spring, just coming out of spring, so they're not fighting too hard at the minute. So I just feel like yellow in a short kit is perfect for this. Let you have a little look at him as well. He's a bit of a lively one, but we'll try. Look at him, beautiful fish. We'll not hold him up because he's very active. Slip him in the net. And again, we don't really need to do anything yet, just repeat the process, same again. 6mm piece of meat on the hook and just feed in 5 or 6 pieces of meat. Just a medium matrix pot, perfect for it. I like them pots, just hold in the bottom because of the shape of him. Everything just sits in the bottom. It's like a dome, circular shape. All the meat seems to gather in the bottom, clump together. So then when you do tap your meat, turn your pot over and tap your meat in, it comes out in one and goes straight down. It's brilliant pots for that. Again, just tap your meat in, lower your rigging on your marker and you're fishing. And then what I have started to do as well is just chuck a bit of meat in the margins, just prime your margins up. Because that probably would be another move after this as well. Dropping into the edge. As soon as I fed me bait then again through the pot, they were straight in my peg, so clearly they're coming straight in as soon as you feed some meat, which is already telling me that I need to take that pot off and start chucking a bit of meat in and making a bit of noise. These venues are absolutely rammed with carp, so you don't need to be shy with the feed. There's a lot of mouths to feed. You just got to be careful how much you feed, because sometimes you can overdo it and get too many fish in your peg and make them difficult to catch. But see, there's one just spook off to the left, off the bottom. It's like they're just sat off bottom around your peg just waiting for that meat. But what I'll do now is give it another 30 seconds. If I've not had a bite, I'm going to chuck a bit of meat over it, see if that makes an impact. There's one there in my peg again. My float's like lifting and moving about up and down. But in the back of my mind, I'm already thinking, this is only a starting line, this. As I said to you, this is quite far out from this venue, but it's a good starting point for the start of a session, and it's good for working out where you need to be. Sometimes you could start straight short and not want to come in on that line, and you missed out on a window of opportunity of catching them a little bit further out in your peg. So like I say, I've given it 30 seconds, I've not had an indication. I've got 5 or 6 pieces of meat in my hand. I just try and clump them together. You want to try and be as accurate as you can with it when you feed your meat. I just try and get them together as tight as I can between my fingers there like that, and then feed them on an area right round where your float is on your marker. See if this makes a difference now, chucking a bit of meat by hand. Oh, we had an indication then. I definitely feel like they're coming in as soon as you feed some meat. They're watching it in and around the area. That was a bite then. I missed that one. Flick your rig back in. Feed some more meat over your marker and on your float. Let your rig come in. Again, keep chucking a bit of meat in that edge as well, where I've plumbed up in that right hand margin. Oh, that was a nice little bite then. There you go, we're into another fish. So obviously now I've started chucking a bit of meat, because I felt like instantly, I had 2 on with the feeding with the pot, which is great with the pot, fishing with a pot, if that's how they want to be caught, because you're just keeping your bait in a bit of a tighter area, sneaking some meat and making less noise. But when there's quite a few fish in your peg coming into your peg, which I feel like there is now, we need to get that pot off. Keep chucking a bit of meat in, making more noise. So that's my next move now. But what a venue this is. You can just tell it's absolutely solid with carp. It's loaded with them. And meat is the perfect bait for them as well. They absolutely love it. They just seem to get tuned in on it. It's like, sends them into a bit of a craze over it. It's a brilliant, brilliant bait. I love fishing it, me. But what I'm going to do now, again, 6mm piece of meat on the hook. I'm going to whip that pot off because I feel like it's a day where the pot's not right. There's a lot of fish coming into my peg. So the pot's come off now. I'll flip my rig back in, feed some meat by hand this time. I'm going to feed 6 pieces of meat twice. Let your rig come in and then sit and be patient. What we're doing now, we're feeding, like I say, we're feeding that meat by hand, we're making noise, drawing loads of more fish into your peg. And if it does come to a point where we start missing a load of bites by feeding by hand, we've got the 2 options what we can do. We can either come back shorter onto a top kit, like I said before, where less fish come into your peg and they're easier to catch shorter, or we can put the pot back on, sneak that bait in again, try and make less noise, and obviously they don't, as many of them won't come in your peg then, and that might change it up a little bit as well. But I've just chucked two handfuls of meat in there now. I'm sat and I'm being patient, right on my marker, waiting for that positive bite. When you're fishing with meat as well, your bites, you can tell your meat bites are really positive indications. It's virtually, there you go. So you see that one then? Literally, when it went under, it was under. You could just tell it was on. Now I've caught that. Feed two lots of meat twice, 6 pieces twice. Guide him out your peg from where you're fishing so that it can settle back down, and that meat you've just chucked in then is priming it back up for when you go back out there. And then just play him. You can see why you can build a weight up so quick just with the size of fish. He's a lovely fish, this one. He's probably one of the bigger size stamp of them that's in here. But this is perfect, this elastic. Gets him under control so quick. He's a beauty, him. Lovely common. Look at the size of that one. Probably about £6. Probably one of the bigger ones in here, in this lake. I tell you what, the lively fish. Now I want to try and hold this one up for you because he is a beauty. But I don't know, because they don't like the sun, you see, so they're quite jumpy with the sun. Look at the size of him. What a fantastic common. What a beautiful day's fishing we have here on meat at the Oaks. Slip him in the net. And we'll get back out and catch another one. But at the minute, I feel like I don't need to do anything different. I'm going to keep priming that margin line, chucking a few cubes on that, priming that up, because we're going to have a go in that margin soon as well, because the margins can be really deadly on here, you can catch quicker. But at the minute, I'm doing things right, I'm getting clean bites, I don't need to change anything at the moment, so I'll keep fishing that way. There's another one. We have had an absolutely fantastic start to this session here on that short line just a bit further out, but I had to wait a little bit longer for that one, and I also started getting quite a few more missed bites before this fish, false indications. Just felt like there's a lot more fish in my peg and they're becoming more and more tricky to catch. So I've been chucking some bait in the margin, ready to drop into the margin in the edge, and now I'm thinking that I need to come onto that really short line right in front of my nets. As I explained to you, it probably sounds silly that there's going to be less fish coming on that line, but you know when they come in, they're going to be a little bit easier to catch and catch them clean in the mouth. So that's my next move, because I'm struggling to try and settle them now on that line. There's that many fish there. We've had a fantastic start. We started with, like I say, what you've seen what we did. We started with the pot on, tapping a bit of meat in, we caught a few. Then it come instantly aware that we needed to take the pot off, start feeding a bit of bait by hand, and that was really good. He had a fantastic run on that. But it's got to a point now where there's obviously quite a bit more bait on the bottom in that area. We're fishing on that silt. There's a lot of carp coming to the peg there, so they're coming really tricky to catch. So my next moves now are to plumb up now. Then I'm going to use the same rig. I'm just going to come back, replumb it short in front of my nets, get that ready, start priming that, and we're going to drop into the margins. But before we go on to the margins, what we're going to do is I'm going to plumb that up just so it's ready, and have a look at the depth difference as well from what it is out there on that line. So we don't need that short, we don't need that long fore anymore. We're literally going to fish it right here on a top kit, and this is going to be the last part of my session. I'm going to drop on this bit when it later in the day and it goes absolutely solid. There's probably about 8 to 10 inch difference from out there on that line to right in front of me nets, but I'm just going to use the same rig, replumb it up, because we won't be going back out onto that long line now. We're just going to disregard that line. That line's gone. We don't want to be still feeding that and feeding here, because we're just spreading bait in too much of an area. So we're just going to focus on right in front of these nets just for that last part of that session. I'm going to keep chucking a bit of meat in that margins as well. I've been doing that for the last few hours. Needs a bit more off that still. Just a few inch. We want to plumb this up so it's right to the bottom of the body. There we go, that's perfect. It's nice and flat and hard the bottom there as well. There's actually a fish there then as I'm plumbing up, and I haven't even fed anything there yet, so it just shows that they're proper on the feed today. But that's plumbed up perfect now, that ready for our last part of our session. But my next move now is to drop into the margins. But before we drop in the margins, I just want to run you through my baits that I've got for today. Now I know we're only fishing meat, but how I've prepared the meat and obviously what I'm going to feed in the margins as well. I'm going to do that a little bit different to how I've been feeding my short lines. So we're going to get into that now and run through the bait for you. It's something new we're trying here at Matrix on our videos. Here and there you'll see the odd QR code pop up. All you have to do is get your phone out, scan it on your phone, and it'll take you to some of the products that we're using in the videos. And then if you like them, you can have a good look at them and then go and get them from your local stockist. Give it a try. Right, I just want to talk about bait a little bit. Now, as you know, we're fishing just meat for this session today, but I'm going to try and explain to you a few things that I've done on preparing my meat and also what type of meat I've got. Now, when I go to the supermarket, I try and stick to 3 brands of meat. I use the plum rolls, the green tin plum rolls. You can get that from B&M or Home Bargain, somewhere like that. And then I either use the Tesco's tulip meat, which is what I've got for today's session, or the Morrison's own. They're the 3 brands of meat that I try and stick to, just because they're what I've used for a long time and I feel confident in them, and I think when you put them through your cutter, they cut up well and there's not a lot of fat on them as well at the same time. Now let's get into how I prepare my meat. It's very simple. I literally have a meat cutter, Tilly meat cutter. I've got a 6mm one of them, and that's what I'm using for today's session. So for today's session, I brought down 5 tins of meat with me. It's not an expensive bait, it's £1 odd a tin, so for 5 tins of meat you can have a fantastic day's fishing on not really a lot of expense. But I've literally cut up 3 tins through my meat cutter, 6mm meat, and just put them in water, covered them in water. There's not a lot left in that because we've been having a fantastic day's session today. So what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm going to cut another tin up because I'm running out now. And then all I've done as well is I've pushed one tin through the riddle. Now how I prepare that is literally, I push the meat push the tin of meat through your meat cutter first, put it in a tub, and then put it on top of my riddle and push it through twice. It's important to push it through the riddle twice, so push it through, get it all back out, put it back on top of the riddle again and push it through again. And then all you do then is just add a little bit of water to it and it'll just stodge it all up. Now this is a neat little thing, this, so just for when you're fishing in the margins, not when you're fishing in front of you or anything like that, just in the margins. So it's deep in the margins where we're fishing today. It's probably 2.5 foot deep, but what I'll be doing during the session is I'll be chucking meat over it, fishing meat, but then on them times when it goes a little bit funny and I feel like the fish are a bit spooked to coming in your peg in the edge, feeding a little nugget of this mushy meat is a deadly tactic for drawing them back into your peg. So that's what we're going to be doing during this session today. But it's so simple to prepare. Like I say, when you do your mushy meat, push the tin of meat through your meat cutter first, because it just makes it easier to push it through the riddle then, you see. So push your meat through the meat cutter into 6mm cubes, and then get your tin of 6mm cube meat, put it on top of your riddle, push it all through, get it back out your bucket, put it back on top of the riddle again and push it through again. I think I've just said that. It's really important to push it through the riddle twice and then add a little bit of water to it so you get that consistency where it sort of like all binds together, and that is a deadly little tactic for feeding in the edge, just to draw them fish back into your peg. So that's my mushy meat. And then obviously I've got my 6mm meat for today's session. And then I just always have a little tub of water on my side tray as well, just for cleaning my hands. Neat little trick that, because when you're feeding meat on that short line, especially when it's a little bit longer out your peg, you want to clean your hands, just so when you grab your meat, your hands are clean and you can chuck it and it can group together and be more accurate. The more accurate you are when you're fishing meat and get it right round your float, the more chance you've got of getting one in the mouth. So that's what's on my side tray for today. Now before we get back to the fishing and drop into the margin fishing, because we've had that fantastic start on that short line at Top Kitten 1, I'm just going to cut myself another tin of meat up because I'm running out now. It's been that good, and I'm just going to show you how I do it basically. So what I do is I open my tin of meat, there it is now, and this is my tilly meat cutter. I literally put it inside the cutter, push it straight in. It has two ends on this, a thin and a thick end. For the first one you use the thick end, push it straight down through the mesh, and then it comes out into this end as well. And then what you do is you literally got like a little engraving on it there where you can sit it on top of your bait tub, just like that, just so it makes it easy for when you're pushing it back through and down into your bait tub. Now we use the smaller end this time and literally just push it down straight through, and it's quick and easy, just like that, and you've got the perfect 6mm meat, and we're ready to rock and roll again there now for this next part of our session. So that's the baits, dead simple, cheap for me for fishing bait, and you can have a fantastic day's fishing on it. Right, so we've just plumbed that short line up in front of my nets and we're going to drop into the margins now. I've been priming that since the start of the session this morning. Been trickling a bit of meat on it, just building it up. I'm going to drop straight in on it now. But for my first feed, when I go in on it, I'm going to feed a bit of mushy meat. Now I won't be feeding this mushy meat a lot, it's just an impact bait. So when I feel like the fish have spooked out the peg and they're not coming in as confident, I'll just put a little bit of this in just to try and draw them back in. But for my first feed, I'm going to feed it just to try and kick it off. Now, a little tip for you, my pot, before I put some mushy meat in the pot, I have a tub of water there, just dunk your pot under the water, just makes everything easier coming out when you get right over where you're fishing, and you can tap your meat, your ball of meat out. And then dip my hands in the water. The water's so important. Ball your mushy meat up just like that, and then pop it in your pot. And then that should just slide out your pot then when you come to tap it in. Now hopefully it doesn't take us too long to catch one in the edge. I can't see it, it's been that good today. What a solid venue it is, there you go, it just comes slid straight out. Get your rig right over your marker, and let everything come back in. There's a bit of a slope there, it's quite flat, there's a bit where it slopes up a little bit. What I like to do is flip my rig out and let it all come back in and keep my pole tip rested against the bank. I have a shortish lash, it just keeps everything on this side of your rig on this side of the bank. So less liners and fish swimming into your line when they're coming in around your peg. And also as well, when you tap that bit of meat in, try and tap your ball of meat in to the left hand side of where you're fishing, out slightly, just so then everything's on this side of your float, not too tight against the bank. Less chance of them coming in and lining you out as well at the same time. It is pretty deep down there, it's 2.5 foot deep down the edge. So just be patient, everything's set now and you're fishing. Like I explained, when you get a bite on that meat, it literally just flies under. And then what I'm starting to do now is I'm just chucking a bit of meat on that toenails line. I call it the toenails line because it's right short on top of you. Just building that for that last hour of your session when the fish are proper confidently feeding, and we can clatter them on that line really short. I'm getting indications there now. Just be patient. Don't be striking at any little false indications or anything like that, because that can disturb your peg as well, striking in and out your peg all the time. Just be patient and wait for that bite. Got a nice thick bristle on there, 2.5mm bristle, and you'll see it fly under. What I think is really important as well is when you're fishing in these margins, I have 2 number 8 back shots. And what that does, it keeps your line tight and pushes your rig even further towards the bank. It's so important to keep your rig as tight as you possibly can to see against the bank. There's less chance of foul hooking one and them linering you. Because obviously, there we go, that was a cracking bite, that one. Just waited for it, aggressive bite, just swam off with it. It was virtually on that then. This is a big fish. I'm going to feed some meat there, just prime that line back up, ready for when you go out again. These short kits are brilliant for this, just gets them under control so quick. Getting a 4 pound carp in here now so quickly on a short kit with yellow slicking. And they're popping up right here in front of your nets. It makes them easier to net. There you go. 3 4 pound carp straight away. Pull them hook him, put him in the net. Now this time what I'm going to do is, like I said to you, it's just an impact feed, that mushy meat, especially in that depth of water. You don't want to be feeding that all the time. I'm going to whip the pot off this time, and I'm just going to put 6mm cube of meat on the hook, and I'm going to go in and start chucking bait and see how that goes. Every day is different as well. You've just got to try and figure it out as quick as you can. But don't stick to doing the same thing. You've got to try and mix it up a little bit. Because they're clever fish. Even though there's a lot of fish in the venue, they're still crafty to catch. So I've done the same again, and then just chuck a bit of meat in. Try and get it round your floor. That first chuck was a bit off, but that second chuck was a lot better. 5 or 6 pieces of meat twice. And then just be patient, and you're set ready, waiting for another bite. And again, don't forget, keep putting some bait on the toenails line, because that is where, especially in a match, you do the damage. So hopefully, as I can show you a bit later on, when you hook one, especially on a short, oh there you go, look at that, beautiful. Guide him out your peg, feed some meat. As I was saying, on that short line, that's where you do your damage later in your session, especially in a match. And I'll try and show you how quick you can be, especially with a short kit. How quick they pop up when you're fishing right in front of you. What I'm noticing as well is the fish that are closer to you, especially in the margins, a bigger stamp, they're all, look at the size of this one. Proper fish. He's a lovely one, him. Fantastic fish. What a venue this is. Credit to the fishery. It's absolutely solid with him. Good sport. Don't actually allow pleasure fishing on these lakes, just match lakes. We've had special permission to come on today to do some filming, so thanks to the fishery for letting us on to do that. Because it's the perfect place to come and try and demonstrate a meat fishing video for you. So thanks to them for letting us come on and do that. My two back shots have just moved there. I'm going to slide them back into position. That's important, as I said, when you're fishing in the margins, because it helps you keep your rig against the bank. And I'm going to do nothing different. I'm literally just going to do the same again, 6mm meat, go over my marker, feed 2 handfuls of meat twice, 5 or 6 cubes, and keep doing that until I feel like it goes funny. If it goes funny, I'll pop the pot back on, pot a ball of mushy meat in, and just keep doing that. That was a lovely feed, that then, right over my marker. Oh, I had an indication straight away. It's so evident today that feeding by hand is drawing them fish into your peg. Just the noise. Try and feed twice. Now I think something else as well, we have done a meat fishing video before on F1s at Tunnel Barn Farm, but it's completely different fishing for F1s than fishing for carp. When you're fishing for F1s with meat, you're feeding it really negatively, 1 or 2 pieces of meat, little and often. Where with this, you can get, when you're fishing for just carp, you can get away with feeding a little bit more meat, so 5 or 6 pieces of meat twice. Because they're like hoovers, these carp. When they come in, they're just sucking it all up. Where with F1s, they're quite finicky. But we have got a meat fishing video on that. But this is a completely different way of doing it. Again, don't disregard feeding that short line. We're building that up now. Just keep popping a bit of meat on that. Now what happened then when I fed that time round is, one come in and sort of landed me out, so I flipped my rig back in again. Now I'm going to reset everything. I feel like that moved everything out of position, so I'm going to flip my rig back in, feed 2 lots of meat again, let everything come back naturally itself against the bank, and then we're fishing again. Because I'm trying to get everything tight to the bank here. You're not going to get right tight to the bank because there's obviously a few bits of and roots overgrowing there, but I'm trying to get it as tight as I possibly can. Oh, I missed a bite then. I'm sort of trying to lean over because it's so important to keep that rig as far against the bank as you can. There's clearly a few fish down that edge there now. Just fix them back shots again. There we go. That's better. It's a simple way of fishing, but so deadly. They absolutely love this meat, these carp. And there you go, we're in again. It is absolutely solid. It was a really good move to move off that line now, that short line, and come into the edge. They're so much easier to catch. And you can see why they're catching massive weights. I know it's solid with him, but you get these tactics right and it's just unbelievable. The fishing's incredible. It's all about balancing your tackle as well, getting the right balance for everything. I don't feel like, because there's a lot of fish in here, I don't feel like the line shy, so you can get away with fishing a lot heavier. Terminal tackle, and obviously with the short kits, with the yellow slicking, just being more quicker, efficient, more aggressive. I think you need to fish heavier main lines, heavier up lengths, thicker gauge ducks, because they're not line shy. There's a lot of numbers of fish in the venue and you're trying to build a massive weight. Like I said to you earlier, these matches are won with in excess of 200 £, 300 £, sometimes. So, and they're not massive carp. There's a lot of numbers of carp that you've got to catch during a session, so your gear's got to be right for the job. But I thoroughly enjoyed this today. Look at that, straight away. Absolutely solid. So good. What I found with my fishing, especially when I'm meat fishing, it's so important when you chuck that meat in to get it right round your float. It's like incredible. I see it every time you hit your bristle with your meat, it's sort of just goes straight under. So it just proves that it's so important in being accurate with your feed. And it's also proved today that how important it is chucking your bait in and making noise as well. That's been really important at the same time. But you could come back on a different day and it'd be completely different. Potting everything could be really good if the fish are not coming in as aggressive and they're not feeding as well. Potting all your bait could be really good. You've just got to not be stubborn and stick to one way. You've got to try and work it out how the fish want to feed on that day. And in a match situation, obviously you need to work it out a little bit quicker because you want to try and catch them as quick as you possibly can. I think another thing as well is, as you've seen with me, I've gone from that line. I've got like a plan of my session worked out. I've gone from my short line in a bit deeper water on that silt. Then I've moved on to my edge, and then I'm going to finish on the short line right in front of me on my toenails. I've got a plan of how I'm going to fish. And also as well, another thing that's really important is priming your lines as well that you're going to fish. If I, for instance, am fishing this edge now, and then my plan of attack was to drop on that really short line, but I've not been priming it with any bait, there's chances there's not going to be any fish there when you drop on it. So you've got to prime them lines. And they'll be so much easier to catch. As I said to you, I know there'll be less numbers of fish coming in because it's really short and they'll be spookier coming really close to you, but when they do come in, you'll just catch them straight in the mouth. They'll not be hard to catch. There we go, straight away. Wow, what a day. Right, we've had a fantastic session up to now, but it's getting to that time where it's the last hour of the session. We need to be dropping on that really short line. I've seen a few swirls there, they're mudding it up a little bit, so it's definitely clear that we need to move on to that line now to finish this session off. But before we do that, I'm just going to run you through the rigs quickly. We'll start with my short line rig. I'll do them in order, so the one that I started on this morning earlier in the session and the one that I'm going to be using really short right in front of my nets. I think I've explained already, I'm using the 14 to 16 Yellow Slick. Brilliant elastic this for carp fishing. I've got it in a short kit, just so I can get them fish under control really quick. Like I said, the match is here. They're catching 2, 3, sometimes 400 pound of carp, so you need to be quick, get them under control. They pop up in front of your nets and you can be really efficient with that. So that's the elastic that I'm using. My main line's all 20 soft steel. That's our new line. It's absolutely brilliant, this stuff now. I'm on that for everything, so that's all 20. We'll run you through the float. It's a 0.4 power slim. I like this float for this type of fishing when you're doing some absolutely bagging with, like I say, we have done here today, just catching loads and loads of fish, just because really strong and durable. This has got a 2.5mm tip, nice and visible so you can see it. When you're fishing with baits like meat and you get a bite, the fish is literally just on, so you can see, it picks it up and it'll just pull it straight under, you can see it. It's got a glass stem and it's got a power eye on it as well. Just nice and strong, durable. It's going to last me for that full session. That's what I'm looking at. They're not line shy or anything, these fish in this venue. I'm just thinking more of making sure that my rigs are lasting me for that full session. So we'll come down to the business end. It's 6 number 8s. I've got a bulk and 1 dropper, 5 number 8 bulk and 1 dropper right on top of my loops, and then a 4-inch of 018 soft steel and a 14's X3 power carp hook. These are our new hooks that unbelievable for meat fishing. For any type of big bait fishing, they're perfect. They house the baits really well. If you strike, especially with meat, it's still on, it can drop back in quickly and the bait doesn't come off. So that's my first rig. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, I always have on all my rigs, I like to fish with backshots. Got 2 number 8 backshots there. Just keeps that rig nice and stable, right on your marker all the time. Now we'll move on to our edge rig. Pretty similar, to be honest with you. Again, 14 to 16 yellow slick in a short kit, 2 number 8 backshots, all 20 soft steel mainline. My float for this one is a power margin in a point float. Same float really, just a little bit shorter. It's got a 2.5mm tip. It's got a power eye on it and a glass stem. It's nice and strong and durable. That's all I'm looking for on this type of venues that I come to. And then this is, again, with 6 number 8s, but this time as a bulk, right on top of my loop. Just for when I'm fishing in the margin, I'm laying that rig and I want everything to come in and be nice and tight as I possibly can against the bank. Again, a 4-inch hook length of 018 soft steel, and the same hook again, an X3 power carp in a size 14. And that's the 2 rigs really. They're nice and simple, but they're all well balanced and they're all made for them bagging sessions like we've had today. So that's the rigs. Let's get back to some fishing and finish off this session. Right, it's come to that last part of the session where I'm going to have a go on that toenails line, as I like to call it. There's loads of fish about, I can see them swimming in and out. But they're going to drop straight in on it now and see how quick it is to get them. I'm hoping that it's an instant impact and I can show you how quickly you can catch them. Not doing nothing different than all my other lines that I've been fishing today. 6mm piece of meat on the hook and feed 5 or 6 pieces of meat once or twice. There we go, straight away. It's unbelievable how close they can come in and around your necks. And did you see that bite then as well? It was literally just straight under, you knew it was on. That's what you'll find, as I said, when you're fishing right here. There's not as many coming in because they're a bit spooky because you're sat right on top of them, but the ones that do come in are so easy to catch. They just nail your bait. He's a fighter, this one. He's only a little one. The little ones seem to fight harder than the big ones. There he is. And we've got him. Lovely little fish. It's like £3. Lovely fish. But can you see how quick that was? Just an instant impact straight away. Let's see if we can get another one. Feed a bit of meat, just keep that meat going in. Right, so as you could see, we literally dropped straight in on that line and caught one straight away. And you can see how quick you can be when you're fishing on this line, and this is where you're going to do the damage, especially in your matches. I'm back in and I'm fishing again now straight away. Feed a bit of meat. Look at that, straight away. As soon as I drop back in, you can see how deadly it is. Timing as well, just time your line right. We'll come to that last little part of the session where everything, a lot more numbers of fish are coming in, feeding. More confident in feeding, I should say. Proper fish these as well. Here's a fight, another fighter. There we go, and we've got him in the net. Lovely fish. But it just proves how quick you can be when you're fishing there. I've probably caught a £3 last chuck and he's probably £4 now. So that's £7 in two fish. These new hooks are brilliant. I can't even get it out here, they're that good. Got a really good shape on them. Once they bend in, they just don't, they're difficult to come out, which is good. But it's absolutely solid there now. Just keep that meat going in. and again you're back in fishing. I can't see it taking long to catch another one. I haven't got much meat left now. I'm running out. I've had that good of a day today. Even cut that extra tin of meat up. You wouldn't think that they'd come so close in front of you there like that. What they'll be doing is they'll be sitting on the outskirts, just past where you're feeding and fishing. Lots of them. And they'll just be creeping in, which is good. Like I say, there's not many coming in and lining you out. I'm getting hardly any liners there now. But when I get a bite, it flies straight under, which is what you want. Nice and clean, easier to catch. There we go. And we're in. Feed some more meat. What you'll find as well is they're just them proper ones as well, what we're catching now. What I like to try and do is pull the fish out of where you're fishing and net it to your right ear. Just try, obviously they're not that bothered about the disturbance, but you want to try and keep it to as minimal as you actually can. And there you go, there's another one. It's just solid. Every line that we've fished today, we've rotated them really well and caught fish on all our lines. But I think what we'll do is we'll catch one more to finish this off for you. And hopefully you've enjoyed the video that we've done for you today. A little mini meat masterclass. Let's fix them back shots again. Just been moving around. That's all. Thrash when the fish is thrashing about. I fish with stots, so they do move a little bit, but you can put them back into place so quick and easy. And again, we're in fishing. A bit more meat. See how I hit that right round my float then? That's something you need to try and get it right on top of your float. Just sit, be patient now. There we go. Did you see that bite again? Unbelievable. Feed some meat. This, you can just see how deadly a tactic it is. They love it. They love the meat. And it's a bait that I use a lot for carp in the spring and summer months. But like I say, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget, if you haven't done so already, to like and subscribe to the Fish Matrix YouTube channel, because you'll be updated with all our recent videos, so you'll get to see them, get notified about them quickly, and you'll see them first. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, don't forget to like and subscribe. But I'll try and hold this last fish up for you to finish off with. Get my elastic out from under there. There we go. Put that top kit down. The stamper fish have probably been like that on average today, £3 commons. But wow, what a fantastic day's fishing I've had at meat fishing today on this venue. Credit to the Oaks, brilliant. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the bank sometime soon.